I have 1 minute. I need to still get into the Zoom. Okay, I have start.
Tammy, are we ready? It is 9:30.
We are not, Director Gardner, if we can have just 1 minute, we're trying to
Take what you need.
log in. Just need 1 more minute. Good morning. We will be starting momentarily. For those on Zoom, please remain on Zoom. We are resolving some technical difficulties. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. We have resolved the technical difficulties, and we are ready to move forward.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for your patience. We certainly appreciate it. We hope that we have no interruptions during the meeting with our connectivity. So while we're pleased with the rain, it does present sometimes some challenges, I guess, we're having with that. So I don't know.
We are still experiencing Zoom problems. We should let the public know that the meeting stops when the Zoom stops.
Okay.
If you're logged on, you will be reconnected, so you don't have to exit out of Zoom. You'll be reconnected when it comes back up on our side. So just stay put. We'll hold all discussions and all actions until the Zoom is active again, and then we'll resume. So just want to let everyone know, because for the board members that were on the engineering committee yesterday, it probably went off 5 or 6 times and
Yes.
had to re-log on. So we may experience that again. We haven't got to the bottom of the problem yet.
Thank you very much. So we'll keep that in mind with everybody. So just bear with us today, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we have no continuing problems. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order this morning. I am calling to order the regular board meeting for the Board of Directors for Western Municipal Water District and the regular board meeting for the Western Municipal Water District Facilities Authority. Those are being called to order at this time. Madam Secretary, good morning and Happy New Year to you. If you could go ahead and read in our COVID protocols and take the roll.
Thank you. Good morning, President Dinstedt. Happy New Year. Pursuant to Western Municipal Water District Resolution 3264, in an effort to protect the public health, prevent the spread of COVID-19, and because state and local officials are recommending measures to promote social distancing, the public may view this board meeting virtually via Zoom and in person. This meeting is being live streamed at WMWD.com and will be video recorded for on-demand viewing and broadcasting purposes. As stated on the agenda, members of the public who wish to comment on any item on the agenda may make comments in person, virtually via Zoom, or by submitting comments on the district's website. Comments received on the district's website before 4:30 p.m. January 3rd, 2023 will be made part of the board meeting record. For those participating in the Zoom meeting who wish to provide public comments, please indicate such by using the raise hand feature, and we will call on you individually. For those participating by telephone who wish to provide public comment, you may do so by pressing *6 to unmute yourself and *9 to activate the raise hand feature. If there is more than one caller, you will be identified and called on one at a time. Any public comment will be limited to 3 minutes in duration. However, the presiding officer reserves the right to reduce the amount of time you will be allowed to speak to ensure that all members of the public have an opportunity to provide their comment. I will now take roll call for the meeting. Due to the complexity of conducting this meeting by Zoom and telephonically, I will not be taking roll call for staff members or the public at this time. Director Gardner.
I am present.
Thank you. Director Torres.
Here.
Director Roten.
Here.
Director Rizvi.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning. President Dinstedt.
Good morning, I am present.
Thank you. President Dinstedt, you do have a quorum today.
Thank you very much. And folks, if we do lose connectivity, can somebody please raise a hand, wave at me, let me know so that we can stop? Just to remind everybody, we are having a few technical challenges this morning with Zoom, and if the Zoom gets interrupted, we will stop the meeting and pause until we can reconnect. So you are certainly welcome to stand by, wait until we can resolve those issues. At this time, we're going to go ahead and start with our Pledge of Allegiance this morning, our first one for 2023, with a longtime employee. Anita, good morning to you. Happy New Year.
Good morning, President Dinstedt and directors. Thank you for having me this morning. Happy New Year. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Wait a minute. Anita, please tell us how long you've been an employee at Western and what department you work for.
So I am the Senior Management Analyst for our operations team, and I have been with the Western family for more than 15 years.
Thank you very much. And just for some reference, Anita and I did a tremendous amount of work together to plan the building and doing the interior on this building and on operations. So we spent some time picking colors and looking at different options because that's what I got to have some fun with at the time with my colleagues on the board who set me in that task. So we had a lot of fun doing that. So we appreciate it, and the building still looks new, fresh, and relevant. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. It's one of the many fingerprints I'm proud to have given Western.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate that. So
Happy New Year and enjoy your day.
thanks. Okay. At this time, we'll go ahead and move into public comments. This is the time to comment on any item which is under the jurisdiction of this agency in order to be able to act upon and is not currently posted on our agenda. If you wish to comment on an item posted on our agenda today, we will call upon you during that item when it's being heard. Madam Secretary, is there anyone who wishes to speak under public comment today for any item not currently posted on our agenda?
President Dinstead, I have received no requests to speak either in writing or here in the audience, and I see no hands raised on Zoom.
Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and end public comment this morning, and we'll move on to our consent calendar. Is there any member of the board who wishes to question, poll, or have any comments on any consent calendar item? Okay, hearing none. Madam Secretary, is there anyone wishing to comment on any consent calendar item today on our agenda?
I have no requests to speak.
Okay, thank you very much. Pulling it back up to the dais with my colleagues, looking for a motion.
I'll move to approve.
I have a motion from Director Risby to approve.
Second.
I have a second from Director Gardner. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Go ahead and call for the vote, Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Director Gardner,
Aye.
Director Torres,
Aye.
Director Roten,
Yes.
Director Risby,
Yes.
President Dinstead.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much. Moving on to items to be added to our agenda. Good morning, Mr. Miller. Is there anything added to our agenda today?
Good morning, nothing to add today.
Okay, thank you very much. Legal counsel, sir, good morning, welcome, and thank you for joining us today. I understand your colleague is unavailable and on vacation, how dare him.
I know.
But welcome and Happy New Year to you. Anything to add to our agenda today?
No, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Moving on to our action agenda this morning, we'll go ahead and start with 7A, legal counsel.
Good morning, members of the board. So as you know, under the Water Code and Western's Code, Western needs to elect its board officers at its meeting today. At a meeting in July, the board adopted Ordinance 395, which eliminated the option for a annual rotation of officers. So the board needs to comply with the code, we need to elect officers today. My recommendation is that we start with the president, move to vice president, secretary, treasurer. We can do it sort of as a slate. It's up to the board, but just for ease of motions and making sure that everything is easy for Tammy to follow, that would be my recommendation, is that we go down the line. And if you have any questions, I'm certainly willing to address them.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go ahead and move into public comment at this time. Madam Secretary, is there anyone wishing to comment on this item on the agenda today?
President Dinstead, I did receive one written comment yesterday with the request to read the comment out loud. I have provided the comment on the dais for the board members. I have no other requests to speak at this time, so if you'd like, I will go ahead and read the comment.
Yes, if we have nobody in the room looking to make public comment, and there's nobody on the Zoom that's raised their hand at this time, so we'll go ahead and move to that. Thank you.
Thank you. The comment is from Barbara Ankley. Dear members of the board, I am unable to attend the meeting this morning due to work commitments, so am writing this to you instead. A year ago, I spoke at the first board meeting of 2022 regarding the election of officers and committee and board assignments. I would like to review what I said at that meeting, given the difficult issue you tackled during the last few board meetings, and given that you are electing new officers and making these important assignments today. What I said last year hasn't changed. It's always good to review and keep these principles in mind when making your decisions. As you all know, I have attended and/or watched Western's board meetings as well as various committee meetings over the years. Not only have I watched you from the perspective of a customer, but as someone who has been a member and officer of various volunteer boards over the years. Leadership, regardless of an officer assignment or a committee assignment, is so important. You must keep this in mind as you sit on this board and represent not only those who elected you, but the entirety of the district. Leading at Western means making decisions that meet Western's mission, vision, and value statements. Your leadership must be reflected in one's attitude, one's behavior, and one's treatment of others. It involves the effective and efficient running of the business and making proper choices and objective judgments. It is ensuring that the people who execute your decisions and make Western operate well, the staff, can trust you. It means having priorities and thinking that are in the best interest of the customers. Here at Western, it's about making sure the business of water is first and foremost. All organizations require proper leadership and professionalism, a willingness to work hard, and commitment to act responsibly. It requires you to put the interests of those you serve, which is all of Western, first. Serving on a board is about teamwork, not about the individual. It's about creating a cohesive group, working together to meet the district's goals, and getting one's ego out of the way. It's about leading, not directing or demanding. It's about being respectful and taking responsibility for one's behavior. It's about putting aside one's personal agenda and believing and acting on a foundational principle that it's not about me. There are also other factors in serving and leading which matter to the public, things like being prepared and paying attention during a meeting, being ready to respond, listening to others. It means being supportive of staff whose jobs are to work for the entire district and its customers. It means showing staff appreciation, whether it's at the internal district meeting or a publicly held meeting. Leadership means acting responsibly and fulfilling commitments. As you select your board and committee assignments today, it should be remembered that the public expects you to attend these meetings and events, arrive on time, stay for the entire meeting, and report back on what happened with the proper amount of detail. The public also expects one to act in a professional manner all the time, even when others, including the public, have a difference of opinion. You all will be making important decisions today. Officer elections and committee assignments should be made based on each board member having earned, not automatically granted, the positions being filled. Earning it means there is a history showing that each person in the comment time period. The remainder of the comment is in the letter that was provided to the board.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll go ahead and bring it back up to the dais after public comment. Is there any comments from any members of the board in relationship to this item? Okay, sure.
I remember a year ago when Ms. Ankley submitted, I don't know if it was that exact verbiage, but it was really close. And I remember listening to it and thinking it was such a great synopsis of what it means to be a board member and a leader. And it would be for any board, but of course, especially as it pertains to our board. And so I'm really glad that she sent it again. I almost think, not that I want to make anything permanent, but it would be a great letter to read annually. It's just a good reminder for all of us. And as we, look forward to this next new year, hopefully refreshed. It's funny, it's only been 2 weeks since our last meeting, but I feel like it's been 2 months because we packed so much into the holiday season and we sort of go off grid a bit and then we come back and it's just such I saw a funny cartoon that showed a calendar and it had from, I think it was like Christmas Eve or the day before, and then it showed, and it was the calendar with squares, like a traditional calendar, and it showed into even the first week in January, and those 2.5 or whatever weeks were all kind of this blurry wave of, and I thought that's kind of how it feels. You kind of forget what day it is. You've had the holiday, and then for me, when Christmas is past, I look forward to it, and then when it's past, another day or two, and I'm done with it, in a way. and hopefully keeping the spirit of Christmas alive. But it's just such an odd time of year. So I appreciate that refocusing on a reminder of, especially someone from the public, of what it is to be a board member and the responsibility that we have and the honor that it is for us to be up here and serving. So I just wanted to say that. I don't know if we're ready for any motions or anything, but
Well,
there
I-
may be other comments. So.
Yeah, I just wanted to circle back with your comment. In fact, when Barbara Ankley wrote a similar, probably really close to the same verbiage that she used last year, I think there was a suggestion that we incorporate some of that verbiage into a packet of, for new board members coming on, to kind of be the welcome letter and kind of talking about responsibilities and kind of talking about, you know, what the role is. And so I think that was a suggestion that was made last year. Mr. Miller, do you recall that suggestion last year with incorporating some of the language, because it summed it up nicely?
Yeah, I don't know if I recall it, but I think it is a good suggestion.
Okay, so, but thank you for that. And
I also put a note on here that I may talk to CSDA, because CSDA does a lot of board member training,
yes,
and so, yeah, we may forward it to them, if the commenter is supportive of that.
yes, okay, no, for sure. And you know, just to give you a little insight of how long Ms. Ankley has been around and involved, she was actually part of the Blue Ribbon Committee for the formation from dissolving what used to be Marietta County Water District and being brought into Western. And so her history goes back all the way prior to 2005, when Marietta County Water District assumed and was incorporated as part of Western. So she's always done things like this throughout. And she was part of a customer focus group as well that we did when we started our communication plan back in 2019. She was part of that. So, no, because you made a suggestion of how are we getting an input from the public, Director Torres, and I recall it was a focus group. There were certain customers that were reached out to that had been involved with certain various different things at the time. So, but in any case, any other comments from any other board members? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and make a comment and make a motion. And I just want to thank my colleagues for entrusting me over these last 2 years to be in this position and to afford me the opportunity to lead. And I certainly want to thank everyone for your support and your confidence in me and your ability to be able to do that, for me to be able to do that. So I just wanted to sincerely thank you for the last 2 years. And with that, I am prepared to make a motion to nominate Director Mike Gardner as our next board president.
I would like to second that. And in doing so, I would also like to thank you, President Denstedt, for those 2 years of over and above service. I know there are particular duties that fall to the president that we may or may not even realize as directors, the time that is spent with that. So I thank you for how you've led our board. And I know for me personally, you've encouraged me and been there for questions and mentoring and those kinds of things. So I just wanted to say thank you right after I seconded.
Thank you. Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And yes, there is certainly a little bit of extra time commitment in working with the general manager and with legal counsel and with staff. And I certainly want to extend my appreciation also to Mr. Miller and the executive team, to the board secretary for everything that she's provided in support for me for the last 2 years, and certainly to legal counsel's involvement as well. So thank you to the Western team. I have really appreciated your support over the years, so thank you. If there are no further comments, I will go ahead and call for the vote.
Oh, I have a comment. Sorry, you didn't actually call for it. I do just want to reiterate or make it known for the record that I will be opposing this motion. This letter, while I don't think it's necessary to go into any formal process, does point out some things that I don't feel Director Gardner emulates. Making proper choices and objective judgments. In the last few weeks, we've been witness that his judgments are not objective. As I pointed out, a lot of the same behavior that I was censured for done by other board members, and yet I have yet to see him call out those behaviors too. And lastly, and then the other one would be what's in the best interest of customers. There have been several policies, including this one, as well as the one for campaign finances, that have not been in the best interest of the customers, but it was something that he really believed in, and it is evident that it was to benefit him. So I wanted to put that for the record.
Madam President, if I could make just a quick comment. I am honored that you would nominate me for this position, and Director Roten would second the nomination. I will just say that I have chaired, either as different title, a number of different organizations. Chairing Western is not something that is on my bucket list. I don't have a need to be the president, but if the board would like me to do that, I will be more than happy to lend what skills I have to that position, and see if we can keep us moving forward.
Thank you for that. We'll go ahead and call for the vote.
Director Gardner.
Aye.
Director Torres.
Nay.
Director Roten.
Yes.
Director Risby.
Yes.
President Dinstedt.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries 4-1 with Director Torres voting no.
I now officially turn the gavel over to our new board president. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
I present you with the gavel. The meeting is now all yours.
Okay. I want to thank the board for placing your trust in me. Director Torres, I will do my best to work with you. We've had some differences. We still do, I think. But I will do my very best to work with you and to help Western continue to move forward for our customers and our employees. With that, we need to select a vice president and a secretary treasurer. I would like the privilege of nominating Director Roten as vice president, and we'll make that motion.
I will second that motion.
Is there discussion on that motion? If not, Tammy, would you please call the roll?
Thank you. Director Torres.
Aye.
Director Dinstedt.
Aye.
Director Roten.
Yes.
Director Risby.
Yes.
President Gardner.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Congratulations.
Okay. Please.
and I was doing the same thing. So I just want to thank the board. I know that there was a lot of what ifs and what could be and all those kinds of things for this rotation. And I just want to say I'm honored, and I will strive to do my best and to work with each one of you in a positive and forward motion for 2023. I just want to say thank you. I'm a bit taken aback, I guess, in a good way. But, so thank you very much.
Okay. Look forward to working with you. And we now need a secretary-treasurer nomination.
I'm going to take this one
Okay.
because you
Oh.
need this one.
I get the annotated agenda. Okay. Where are we? We are,
Do we need a secretary?
yeah, okay. We need to elect a secretary-treasurer, and I would like to nominate Director Rizvi for that position.
I would second that.
Is there discussion? If not, Tammy, would you please do the roll call vote?
Thank you. Director Torres?
Yes.
Director Dennstedt?
Aye.
Director Roten?
Yes.
Director Rizvi?
Yes.
President Gardner?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Okay. All right. I would like to ask each of you, sorry?
President Gardner.
We have one more job.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
One more thing to do. So the board needs to appoint Mr. Miller here to be the deputy
Yes.
secretary treasurer in the event that Ms. Rizvi is absent.
My apologies. And that will take a motion, which I will make.
We also need to affirm all the officers correct under the authority facility. No?
That's
Okay. Okay.
You made a
Okay,
motion?
yes.
Second.
Call for the
Okay,
vote.
please.
Director Torres?
Yes.
Director Dennstedt?
Aye.
Director Roten?
Yes.
Director Rizvi? Yes. President Gardner?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Okay, now we need to affirm the board members and officers of the Western Municipal Water District Facilities Authority.
President Gardner, sorry, do you want to discuss the appointments to committees and board assignments in 7A, or do you want to move on to number 8?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it under 7A. I would like to do two things. One is ask each of you in the next 2 weeks to, actually within the next week, to let me know which committees you are interested in. And I will put together a list. We have on the dais, we call this the matrix. It shows which committees are there, when they meet. And the second page shows the current committee assignments. So if each of you would advise me as to which committees you would like to be on, I will attempt to put together a matrix that we can bring back to the board. Typically, we do this our second meeting in January, that actual vote. So if everybody will please try to do that, say by Monday of next week, I would appreciate it.
May I ask a question?
Please.
I know it says on here like it meets bi-monthly, monthly, but it doesn't say if it's, say, the third Wednesday or the second Tuesday. That would be helpful to know. Is that
Tammy,
have
can
that
you
list somewhere?
provide that to everyone?
Calendar somewhere.
Yeah, there is a calendar, Director
Yeah.
Torres. I will provide that to all of the board members later this afternoon.
Awesome, thank you.
And while we are thinking about these, remember that as of the first part of March, we are going to all need to be physically present at meetings more than we are now. There are a couple of exceptions. If you post, or if the district posts the location that you'll be at and the public is welcome there, you may participate remotely. Or there are 2 emergency exemptions allowed each year. So without that local posting. But look at the schedule of when different things meet, because you can't attend a 10 o'clock meeting that ends at 11 and attend an 11 o'clock meeting that same day in another city. It just doesn't work. So, Tammy, you'll get that to us, and then if everybody will please let me know what you're interested in. And I will be in contact with each of you to discuss those requests, and we'll try to accommodate as best possible what people would like to do.
Tammy, does that list happen to have addresses?
It doesn't, but I can add that for you.
Yeah, only because since I don't think I've driven to CDA ever, or
Yeah, and
I don't know where
that's-
the heck
it's
the
in
PR copy
Chino.
is. Right.
Yeah.
I just never drove, like I'm saying, like I
Yeah.
wouldn't even know my drive time to many of these places. I
Yep, I'll
think
be
that'd
happy to add
helpful.
those addresses for all of the locations. Thank you.
Great, that would be helpful. Okay,
And some of them do flip. Some of them do flip.
They do, so I'll make note of that.
yeah.
For instance, on the side-by-sides that we have with other agencies, we flip every other month. So sometimes they're here, sometimes they're there. So you just need to keep that in mind as well, that it could be at home base here, and whatever your drive time is here. Because while you may go to a sister agency, for instance, Elsinore, for me, Elsinore is much closer, but if I got to come here, it's further drive time. So just to keep that in mind too.
I'll make sure I have all of the locations listed.
Great, thank you. Okay, now we will go to 8A and affirm the board members and officers of Western Municipal Water District Facilities Authority. Do we have a motion for that? Actually, I neglected to ask, do we have any public comment on that?
We do not have any public comment. Attorney Stewart, did you have any comment you'd like to make?
No, unless there are any questions on this. I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, right? I mean, yeah, if you guys feel comfortable going forward, then, yeah, go on and make the motion.
Okay, I would be pleased to make the motion, Mr. President, for the slate to move forward with the rotation of officers that have been selected to represent Western Municipal Water District's regular board, with President being Director Mike Gardner, Vice President being Director Laura Roten, and Secretary Treasurer being Fazia Rizvi. That is my motion.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Tammy, would you please do a roll call vote?
Thank you. Director Torres?
Aye.
Director Dinstedt?
Yes.
Director Roten?
Yes.
Director Rizvi?
Yes.
President Gardner?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, now we need to adopt Resolution 24, establishing the regular meeting dates for the Western Municipal Water District Facilities Authority. And Mr. Mascaro, I believe this is you.
Certainly. Happy New Year, everybody. Well, this administrative resolution would simply have the Facilities Authority meeting dates, times, and location match Western Municipal Water District's time, date, and location. As simple as that.
Okay, is there any question? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. President, did you want to see if there was public comment?
Thank you. Do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Okay.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would you please call the vote?
Thank you. Director Torres?
Yes.
Director Dinstead?
Aye.
Director Roten?
Yes.
Director Risby?
Yes.
President Gardner?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Okay, thank you very much. Brings us to reports. Mr. Stewart, do you have anything from General Counsel?
We, our firm will be providing some memos on some legislative updates that have happened in the new calendar year. So look out for those over the next couple of months. Jeff and some of the attorneys that work for him just did one that you guys should be receiving shortly, if you haven't already, on new updates to the conflict of interest laws. And board members such as yourselves abstaining from votes, if it would be to benefit, say granting a contract to somebody who donated to your campaign. Stuff like that. There's also the new Brown Act updates that President Gardner was referencing earlier about more in-person presence required at board meetings, and the different types of exceptions that you can use and how and when you can use them. So keep a lookout for that, but excited for another year with you. So thank you for having me.
Great, thank you. Mr. Miller?
Well, thank you, President Gardner. I have several reports. Let's start off with a little water report. This is good. We've got rain in the state, and we've had a lot of rain.
All month.
So we've got 55.5 inches of snow at the Phillips Station up in the Sierras. That's great. That's about 177% of average. Statewide snowpack's 174% of average. This is great news. Don't forget, that's where we were last December, and it didn't go so well in January, February, March. So don't stop whatever dance you're doing to make it rain. Keep it up. It's working. We've also had quite a bit of rainfall in our watershed. So we saw a peak flow of 2,800 CFS at the East Street gauge. So that is impressive, and it's good to watch. There's a pool behind Prado also, which is good. Not beneficial for us, but beneficial for the whole watershed. Up north, Lake Oroville, so we talked about snowpack. What does that do for Oroville? So Oroville has risen 50 feet in December alone, so that's great news. So we'll keep monitoring that. Metropolitan will come out in their committee meetings with their updates next week. Ryan will provide that to the board at the next board meeting. So we're looking forward to that. Supposed to be a huge storm hitting today and tomorrow. You may have heard on the news. They're calling it a bomb cyclone. Don't know what that was. I like Pineapple Express. It's much more friendly. So they're expecting big rain and big snow in the central part of the state. And we're supposed to get hit pretty hard tonight, too. So we're watching out for that. We're ready. Ops is ready. So that's all good news. It doesn't change. We want to be careful about our Solve the Water Crisis messaging. You may have seen Met did a press release yesterday about the winter and the storms, and they were very careful to make sure that they put in there that one wet December does not fix our water supply challenges, and we need to continue to develop water supply in this state. So it was great to hear Met carrying the Solve the Water Crisis message forward. Okay, even maybe better news for Western. We were notified by Bureau of Reclamation that we have received a $5 million grant. So our grant receipt is off the charts. So this board takes action on resolutions regularly. So you took an action on May 18th, Resolution 3217 for this grant. And we were notified that we have won the grant. This was a partnership with Rubidoux and Riverside Highlands and Western to develop wellhead treatment for water supply wells. So this is great news. So staff will be working really hard to facilitate that grant and get those projects built and share that money with our partners. So great news for all three of the agencies. Again, Melissa Matlock, Michael Hadley, and our federal grants team, kudos for finding it, pursuing it, writing another successful grant. You may not know that Mark Limbaugh and his team helps write those and edits those to make sure that we're saying just the right things for the people that are reviewing those back in DC. And I think that's probably why we're very successful on these grants. It's that collaboration between our team and the Ferguson Group team that's helping us win those. So great news for Western and Rubidoux and Riverside Highland Water Company. More good news. This is a shout out to our staff. So in Candy gave me this data. So employee donations in 2022. So our staff contributed $4,800 to the United Way through payroll deductions. We contributed 43 unwrapped toys to Toys for Tots. We donated $400 to Feeding America for their holiday drive. And so I just want to thank staff for their generosity. This is all above and beyond. It's staff-driven. They do it themselves, and they want to contribute to our community. So kudos to our staff. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful job. That's amazing.
Our staff's amazing. On a sadder note, a reminder to the board, Phil Williams Memorial Service. Phil is a director, longtime director of Elsinore. It's going to be this Sunday at Elsinore High School at 1 p.m. if you're planning on attending.
Is that 1 p.m. or 11? I heard 11.
We'll check.
We
We'll
have
make
it
sure
on
we
the
have
calendar
right.
at 1,
Okay,
but we'll double check.
We'll
yeah,
double check.
we might want to double check, because I heard 11.
We don't want people getting there late.
I'll send a calendar invitation out to the board members.
Thank you. And I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but if the agency would send flowers,
Yeah, that's our practice.
thank you.
And then finally, Spencer Fierro has announced that he's going to be moving on to another opportunity in life, and we're sad about that, but we're happy for Spencer. But Spencer, I just wanted to let the board know that this is your last meeting with the board, and thank you very much for all of your guidance and support through these meetings.
Thank you, and I really will miss everyone, and I will be assisting another board.
Great, congratulations.
Well,
we'll miss you.
congratulations, you'll be missed. Thank you for always fixing my iPad.
That concludes my comments.
Okay.
One more on the agenda. We have one more on the agenda.
That concludes my comments.
Yes.
But Tim has a report under number 2, under general manager comments.
All right, good morning. A couple of months ago, Director Rizvi asked a couple of questions, and we responded in the Community and Government Affairs Committee meeting, and she asked that it be presented again at a subsequent board meeting. So I'm going to do that here this morning. So Director Rizvi's questions were insightful, so I put together a little PowerPoint presentation. Her questions were, how does the district sponsorship program work? How many chambers of commerce is Western a member of? What is Western's return on investment in these partnerships with the chamber? And how many board members attend chamber meetings? So let's go to the next slide, and I'll start with how the sponsorship program works. In the annually adopted O&M budget, the board typically has approved approximately $80,000 for the sponsorship program itself. This is for all sponsorships, not just chamber events, and there's a difference between chamber membership and chamber event sponsorships. I'll get to that. You'll see in a few slides that approximately 25% of the total annual budget goes to chamber events. The rest of it goes to other community events as well. Things like the Heart Association Walk, which is coming up in March, the Air Show, which is coming up in April, I believe. These are events where the community is present and we have a large impact or the opportunity to communicate our mission and vision and the programs that Western offers to the public. All sponsorships must begin with an application. We have an online forum where any entity can go online and fill out an online application. Staff gathers this information together, and the historical data, if we've sponsored them in the past, if we've sponsored them within the year, and there are program guidelines, we do not exceed $5,000 per individual entity without coming to the board first. We don't exceed a total of $10,000 in any year for any entity without coming to the board as well. Executive management approves or declines, and what we're looking for in the decline, and we had 2 in the last fiscal year, we're looking for a nexus to water or wastewater services, or generally Western's mission, a connection to the mission of Western Municipal Water District. And you can see on the slide here, we're looking for a clear water nexus. Let's go to the next slide, please. This is a list of the current chamber memberships. As I said, membership is different than a sponsorship. Chambers have multiple events during the year that they will submit an application and we will consider sponsoring them if it, again, has a water or wastewater or a mission relationship. Membership fees do not come out of the sponsorship budget. They are budgeted separately, and the membership fees are paid separately for each of these chambers. Let's go to the next one. This is a list of chamber events that we have sponsored in the past. These are examples, not a complete listing of everything that we have sponsored, but when I went back and looked at sponsorships over the last 7 or 8 years, these are some examples that come out. You'll see that there's some common things, Good Morning Riverside, Good Morning Corona, economic outlooks, states of the city, state of Harupa Valley, for example, state of the city for Eastvale, the Temecula state of the city. So there's some common theme here. We use this as an opportunity to remind many of the chambers of the importance of water service and wastewater service to the community as well as the business community. Next slide. This is a chart that shows the chamber sponsorships, and this is just the sponsorship of chamber events over the last few fiscal years. You can see the pandemic dip right there in 19 and 20. There just were fewer events that were actually happening. And you can see that we had a rise last fiscal year as well, back up from 13 to 17 sponsorships. The other thing we've noticed after the pandemic is that the cost of sponsorships has increased.
I was just going to say that. That graph doesn't match.
Each individual sponsorship activity itself has gone up in cost. So where there used to be $500 sponsorships, we're now seeing $750 sponsorships or $1,000 sponsorships. So the lowest level has gone up in almost across the board in every sponsorship we're looking at. However, we do believe that the budget that the board approves is ample at this time. The benefits of sponsorship. Let's go to the next slide. So again, I kind of mentioned this, touched on it a little bit, but it's a good opportunity to build relationship with all of the chambers within Western Service Area. We work with chambers to develop ambassadors, other business entities, members of the public that can actually spread our message farther than our own staff can. So it's a good opportunity to find commonality and work with local entities to actually spread our message far and wide. We use it as an opportunity to educate on all the members on Western's mission. I did a count of all the chambers that we are sponsors, and this doesn't account for any duplicates. There are a number of entities that are members of, for example, the Greater Riverside Chamber and the Harupa Valley Chamber and the Corona Chamber. I didn't account for duplicate memberships, but in total there's over 3,500 members of all of the chambers that we're part of. So that's a good opportunity to meet directly with the movers and shakers in the community in the area and spread Western's mission statement. We continue to partner with local chambers on initiatives of importance to Western and Western's customers, solve the water crisis. We go to chambers early to talk about the need for rate adjustments and the importance of rate adjustments, connection fees. We have chambers kind of weigh in when we start to talk about connection fees. We did that the last time as well. And our legislative priorities. When something is coming across the legislature that would impact Western customers, we'll reach far and wide and talk to the members of the chamber of why it's important for them to take a position on certain things. One of Director Rizzi's questions was a financial one, an economic one. It was return on investment. And she asked, what's the ROA in all of our participation? And liking numbers, and I will defer to Kevin on my math sometimes, but if you were to divide all the costs that we put into the chamber events by the number of members, it comes out to be about $6 a year in total that we're actually spending on chamber sponsorships. So $6 per member per year that we're spending. So the opportunity to actually reach out and make contact and build ambassadors that can spread Western's mission statement around the Western service area is well worth the small cost of $6. So last slide. With that, I will take any questions.
I just want to thank you. This was very helpful and kind of got us an idea of how far Western is reaching to Temecula and all these chambers. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
It was a very good and informational report. I appreciate it very much.
No, and we appreciate our partnerships as well with all the chambers and everything that they've done. So we received a number of support letters from the chambers during our rate increases and communicating that message out forward to the business owners as well. So it's of high value that we go and attend all of these things. And I know I thoroughly enjoy connecting with folks when they have questions and when we go to the breakfasts. Unfortunately, some of the breakfasts all happen on the same day, so I can't, we're all kind of having to split that message, but that's part of the benefit of have such a widespread. So, but thank you for those questions. It's always good to get a refresher on how many organizations we're part of and what our reach is and how we're trying to incorporate people into what we do.
Okay, does that conclude the general manager's report?
That is it. Thank you.
All righty, thank you. Director's reports and requests. I'll start with SAPA. SAPA has not met since our last meeting, so there's nothing to report. MWD?
For Metropolitan, so we have a meeting next week. There will be the installation of the new chair, Adan Ortega, who will be the new chairman of the board for Metropolitan. And then as a reminder for your calendars, the naming of the Galliano Outlook, I think is what it's over at Lake Matthews, is next week, unless that's being moved because of rain or something else. I haven't heard.
No, I haven't heard.
We're still good on that date, right?
I think it's still on
Okay.
that day.
So,
Is it, I'm so sorry, is it Met that's putting it together?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
no,
It's
Metropolitan's,
met, and
yeah.
it's a joint naming for former Director Don Galliano and Lois Krieger.
Logan, yeah.
That's awesome.
That was put off because of the pandemic.
So the facility is going to be named after both of them?
There's
It's-
actually two facilities there.
Got it.
Yeah.
So one, the Overlook is after Director Galliano, and the other facility, which I'm not sure what it actually.
I think it's the nature preserve out there.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's a name for it, will be named after Lois Krieger.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
there's a couple of different areas, but
Sorry to interrupt.
Don was notorious for driving over there and looking at, and I remember one time when he was so upset that somebody had vandalized the plaque out there, the memorial historical plaque. Do you remember that? The memorial
I
historical
was asked
plaque?
to go fix it.
Yes. I mean specifically.
Immediately.
He was very upset that it was vandalized. And so I think it's so appropriate, and it's in our service territory, and it will honor him and certainly honor the first chairwoman, who was a member of this board, Lois Krieger, who we have, student grants and things to recognize that. So just to put that on your calendar and make sure if you wanted to attend, you're welcome to attend. It's going to be open to the public. My understanding is the Galliano family will also be in attendance to that, as well as Metropolitan family and all of us. So thank you, Mr. President.
Do we know if the Krieger family has been notified of this?
It is our understanding that they have.
Okay.
Metropolitan, this is their event, and they're in charge of notification of all the families and coordinating attendance.
Yeah, I would think that they had, but certainly it should be done if it
Yeah, that is correct.
wasn't.
We provided a list of known Krieger family members to Metropolitan so that they could reach out.
Great, thank you. Chino Basin Water Master also has not met since our last meeting, so there is nothing new to report. CDA,
Same.
okay. RCRA,
Same. We'll meet in February.
WRCOG,
We are dark this month. Dark for January.
interesting, okay. SORA,
We will meet next week.
okay. Anything new from Aqua?
We do have a Aqua board meeting next week. It's also on the same day as the Galliano dedication, and it's in the afternoon. So I'll
That's
get.
a Region 9.
Yeah, it's a,
board meeting.
let me clarify that. It is a Region 9 board meeting. So, so just putting that on everybody's radar.
Where is it? Never mind. Sorry.
It's a Region 9 board meeting, typically gets put on Director Denstedt's calendar because she is a board officer. I am happy to send that information to the rest of the board if you're interested.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Is that different from, like, is there a board meeting and then a different meeting? Or that's the regular Region 9 meeting?
No, that's a Region 9 meeting, and we're doing some planning for the tour that we're scheduling of some facilities for a Region 9 program that will be, I want to say at the end of March.
I believe it's the end of March, that's the Salton Sea
That's what they
Yeah.
said
Tour.
at Aqua.
And it is actually a board meeting for Region 9. Each region has its
Yes.
own board,
Oh, okay.
and so they consider it a board meeting.
Yeah, there's 10 regions
Right.
within Aqua,
I
and
just
this is,
didn't know if it was just for the board or if other people go sometimes. or-
It's an open public
no,
meeting.
it's an open, yeah. Yeah, it's an open meeting.
Okay.
And
Sorry, we're talking in class. We're talking about how far east Region 9 reaches. And it
Oh, yeah,
does
no,
include
all-
the desert
all-
agencies.
Yeah, all the way to the Salton Sea. So we have it's kind of an interesting thing, and I'll have a list of all of the members within the region and how far it stretches. And we try to assemble the board members, so we have what's called the desert region and the arid region. And so we try to have an equal presence on the board from representatives so that it's because it's a little difficult to get some of those folks. Like we had appointed a member from IID, Imperial Irrigation District, and they never showed because they're driving all the way from Imperial to get to the board meetings, which we've hosted here at this agency just because we're kind of in a geographic spot from San Bernardino, from coming up from there, the desert. We're in a nice location, centrally located this way, because it's harder to find people that are willing to host the meeting out in Coachella for whatever reason. Nobody's really offered up their facilities. So, but yeah, I can provide you with a list, and we can talk more about Region 9 at a future meeting.
Great. Excuse me. Are there director's comments? Director Rizvi, we'll start at your end.
No comments, just a happy new year. Looking forward to working with you, the new board, and looking forward to what the staff and the district achieve next year. So I'm super excited. Thank you.
Director Roten?
Yeah, basically the same thing. Happy New Year looking forward to going forward this year. And just one interesting, well, I thought it was interesting. Coming on the 91 this morning, I was coming down from up from Huntington Beach over, I don't know what you say. And the big digital signs on the 91 say, curtail all driving until Thursday night due to severe weather. So whatever that cyclone bomb thing is, they're really serious about it. So I think today doesn't look like it's going to be too bad, but I guess tomorrow is going to be pretty heavy
Tonight.
rain.
And-
Tonight, is that it?
In Harupa Valley, there are areas where it can be drizzling just like that, and the way the water gathers will take a lot out. So just, yeah, be careful. Don't drive into any ponds. If they look like ponds, they could very well be pools.
Yep.
So don't drive into any pools, don't.
Yeah. There's a
just stay
low
out.
point on Limonite
Yes.
between like Bain and, I don't know, I'm going to just say beach. And one time I went through there, it was at night, I didn't realize, I was driving toward it, and I saw the cars like on the other side of it with the headlights, and they were stopped, and I thought, what are they doing? As I'm driving through it, and it's like a creek. So when it fills, my husband thankfully was right behind me in a four-wheel drive truck, because he's like, oh, I was ready to push you right out of it. Because I could feel, it was partway up on my doors, and it was just a stupid thing. I didn't realize it was that deep, but boy, when they say the force of that moving water, it's terrible.
A foot can make a car float, so.
Yes, yeah,
stay out of
I
the
was
water.
very fortunate, and then I figured out why the people were waiting on the other side. So, yeah, it was dumb,
Okay.
but that was it. I'd
Okay.
never seen a sign like that, so.
Director Denstedt.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just had a really quick question for staff. Are we sending out any audio messages and the reverse calls or anything? Because I've not received one to make sure your automatic sprinkler systems are off, because there's really no need. And just was kind of curious, because I usually get one of those on my answering machine at home, and I haven't. Because as a Western customer, I get those messages, so.
That's a great question, Director. We are tending to reserve those reverse calls for more emergency or shutdown situations. We want to save those for when we really need people to pay attention and take action. But we have been following through with our seasonal campaign to remind customers. So that messaging has been going out on bill inserts, newsletters, social media promotion, news releases, those sorts of things, in partnership with our drought outreach as well. So we've been really heavily promoting that seasonal shift, encouraging everyone to dial back their watering schedule. And then also when we do have these rain events, doing timely pushes of information, reminding our customers that they can really shut off their water for several weeks with a very short amount of rain. So we're full-blown in the midst of doing that outreach as we speak. And that actually started as early as October of last year.
Okay, thank you very much, appreciate that. And just going along with the messaging from the general manager in terms of, and Metropolitan and everything, you know, I've had a number of people ask me the question, is the drought over now because we've gotten all this rain? And the mountains are covered in snow and everything else. So I always leave a message like this: no, the drought is not over. And if you imagine yourself being a couch potato for 5 years and working out for a week, you are not ready for a marathon. It takes a lot more effort than that. And so I just kind of try to put it in a little bit more context for folks to understand. And that kind of sets the light bulb off, like, oh, wow, okay, good message.
Yeah.
So stay true to our message. No, the drought is not over. We don't have excess yet. We are still behind the, all of our stuff that we're trying to do, we're still behind the gun. So anyway, that is my comments today, and Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Torres?
Only comment is Happy New Year, and just for the public, I'm going to be having a coffee for Division 2 members, 2 coffees actually, that they should be aware of in order to discuss their concerns.
Great. I want to thank the board for your trust in me and asking me to be president. I look forward to working with you. I think we can continue doing good things. There's a lot for us to do, and I will do things a little differently than President Denstedt did, and whoever follows me will do things a little differently than I will do. And I really want to thank Director Denstedt for her 2 years as president. It was a challenging time for a number of reasons. Your leadership was important to keeping us focused and moving us along, and it really is appreciated. So, do we have requests for future agenda items? Hearing none. We do have in our packet information items, the investment report for November and the government disclosure report for November as well. Our next meeting is Wednesday, January the 18th at 9:30. And with that, we will be adjourned. Thank you all very much.